Wait, what are we doing?
Did you want me to tell you which ones I wanted?
No, actually, so yeah, let's introduce the podcast.
Okay.
This is the first one.
Yeah.
Cailee, what's your last name?
Herter.
Because I could never pronounce it properly.
Yeah. I'm also trying to go by Cailee Rae these days, and I forget.
Yeah, and I've seen that too.
My middle name too. So
yeah. Is Rae your middle name?
It is.
R-A-E, R-A-Y.
R-A-E.
I have a niece with a R-A-E middle name.
Yeah,
Brittany
and I leaned
Rae.
in real hard to that when I was making my candles for a while, and so now I feel like as I'm combining my businesses back together, it's a deep with Cailee Rae.
We'll have to talk about what you're doing because
Yeah.
I haven't been caught up with your shenanigans.
It's always something.
I know, I'm the same way. Speaking of always something.
Yeah.
This is our first. I keep looking like at the audience over here. There's no audience.
Yeah.
This is our first podcast in the new space. We have video. Maybe I'll have to add video of the space, but you can see what I'm selling here now. Like,
Yeah.
in beautiful hand done Tonka paintings, and
It's great. How does it feel?
it feels better than the other space.
Yeah.
First of all, look at the space; it's beautiful. And then it's nice to actually have something for somebody to come in and look at, rather than going, so what do you do here? I'm like, yeah, okay. And then those that aren't interested, they leave. Those that are interested, they ask questions, we talk, and they find out other things that we do, and whatever.
And you're having classes here already?
No, I mean, we just sit. I think I'm gonna. I feel like I need to call it quiet time rather than meditation in this community.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
Coming for quiet time.
Meditation can be scary for
yeah,
people.
yeah, and I think it's religious. They think it's that's an Eastern religion. That's not what I'm all about. But Jesus meditated too.
Prayer.
Yeah, and prayer is meditation.
It's the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you want to come in and just be quiet and pray, that's fine with me. Yeah. So turning it in, I've been out of town. That's the problem. Like I was telling you earlier, I have to leave for a week to 10 days every month.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to get traction here and say, okay, these are my hours. And then I get back and I'm like, oh, I'm going to spend some time in the studio. And I'm like, oh, I'm freaking tired.
Yeah.
I gotta take a weekend or just a day off or to just
regroup.
Yeah. I can just throw myself at it. I'll sit here. I'm like, I gotta be there. Gotta get it done. And then I just literally sit here like, what did I need to do? And I can't organize my thoughts and figure out where
It's hard running your own business.
Yeah. And then you figure something out once, like with the website, the POS system and everything. And you're like, okay, well, I'll go in and get that done after my week to 10 day hiatus, selling pictures. And then I get back and I was like, how does that work again? So you have to wrap your head around all the nuts and bolts and it's relearn it. Yeah. So
they're called systems apparently, and my brain doesn't work this way. But
you're more the right side.
I'm the creative.
Too.
Let me pour the candles, do the massage. Like I don't want to have to remember how to send emails, right? Yeah. But as my VA started helping me out, I was like, listen, sister, everything that you do for me, can you please type it up as a SOP and put it in a binder? So when I go do this stuff, if I've been on vacation, I'm like, okay, I got to come back and do emails. I can just find it, and look up the system to what's my login? What's my password? Make it real black and white because my brain just does not appreciate those tasks.
Right. Yeah. So you said VA. Is that a virtual assistant?
Yeah.
Is that somebody hired from India or did you?
No, she's from here. Yeah. So we meet for coffee and she does different little things.
She's really not virtual.
I mean, yeah, we do a lot of Zoom meetings, but she lives in Holman. So we met initially to kind of discuss what I was looking for. And I'm even in a season in my business where I don't even know if I know everything that I need to be looking for. Right. So the rest of this year for me is getting really organized, both at home and in my business. Okay, I want to start a podcast. What does that even all look like? Do I edit it? Does she edit it?
Yeah,
edit it? Because that would be awesome.
Is my
just getting a list to do for 2026 now.
Is my guy behind the scenes going to edit this? As he chuckles over there.
Yeah, like whose responsibility is it?
Right.
You know? Yeah.
So we'll get into your businesses and how they're combining and what it's all about in a second. But I just want to finish the intro of this. So let's take a step back. So we had the Susan Lucky podcast, and I think we had 5 or 6 episodes of the Susan Lucky podcast. Susan, I believe, has died.
Okay.
Or she has buried herself, or he, I don't know, he or she.
Unsure. Unclear.
Buried herself and now is sprouting as a Spoken Home podcast, being reborn. So, I used to do rebirthing, sort of exercises through meditation, by the way. So I should do that for Spoken Home and Susan Lucky. So Susan Lucky podcast, done. Spoken Home podcast. This is the first one.
Okay.
Cailee Rae Hoerter.
Yeah.
And we're in a brand new space called the Spoken Home in La Crosse, Wisconsin. It's beautiful. You should come check it out. We do have our live, Nick, let's see if we can get a picture of that live on air sign. It's hard to take a camera and move it over because they're stuck here.
Get a picture and put it in the notes later.
So you're our guinea pig here today. You're number one.
I appreciate it.
Spoken Home podcast number one.
Yeah.
So
exciting.
What do you do?
Man.
What do you do?
What don't I do? This is what I was going to ask you before. So I'm a multi-passionate human, and I've just recently learned my human design. Are you familiar with your human design?
No, tell me.
Yeah. So there's a few different categories, right?
Wait, let's go back. Multi-passionate. Mm-hmm. So you like me, like to do many things.
All at the same time.
You have many passions. So you're like your Facebook feed or Instagram feed or whatever, or TikTok comes up with all this different things, and you're like, I'm sucked in. Oh, there's another.
Yeah, well, and thankfully, I think I'm in a season in my life where I don't consume a lot of social media because I have to create it so often for all the passions that I have. But it's been this journey of, a decade ago, starting out with therapeutic massage. Okay. And then
a decade ago?
Yeah.
Dang.
Like I've been doing and I remember being like, man, I have some colleagues that have been doing massage for 10 years. I wonder if I'm going to make it there. And then now I'm here and I'm like,
funny?
Holy shit, I've been doing this for a decade.
Yeah, it's going by like that, right?
And then a few years into I started pouring candles along the way as like a creative outlet, and it became this hobby that kind of turned into like a side hustle. People appreciated the candles.
Some meditation candles.
And then
we burned some candles at the old what was it called? Freedom Meditation Studio.
Yeah.
Speaking of how time flies, I don't mean to like interject here, but you have a son who's probably
15. He started driving my car this week. Oh my gosh, he's got his learner's permit.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I know.
My youngest just got married a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it's crazy.
Where at?
He got married in Pennsylvania, eastern Pennsylvania, at a ski resort.
Fancy.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful wedding. Did a great job. It was awesome. Very sweet family. The in-law is great. Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Good.
I gave a speech.
Yeah.
I actually recited a poem instead of doing a traditional speech. So
okay. So
that I wrote. Yeah. Well, I didn't have it memorized. It was on my phone. But I went into it like kind of nervous, and I'm like, you know what? This is like a once in a lifetime thing. I'm just gonna enjoy every second of it.
Speak from the heart.
Yeah, and I enjoyed every second of it.
Yeah, when you think too much and you speak from the head, it's hard. Even in our training we took recently, I was like, wait, I get to talk about all stuff that I like know. And it feels so easy when you just talk about things that you're already like living and trying to get your clients in. That too was a process of like taking the wide array of knowledge that I have and kind of narrowing it down, right? Because it's like then I added in yoga teacher training and Reiki, and I went to school for Ayurveda. And then I went to school for sex and relationship coaching. So now I have this like vast wisdom, if you will. And it's like, how do you say in one sentence to somebody what you do when you do all those things? So with my human design being a manifesting generator, it makes a lot of sense as a Manny Gen that I'm constantly like fueled by ideas, and I always want to have a lot going on.
I've never heard of Manny Gen, manifesting generator.
There's manifestors.
There's all sorts of like
generators
buzzwords they're putting out there these days.
It just gives me permission. The fact that I'm always inspired and I'm always working on things, It just feels like okay now, because that's literally how I've been designed, is to be inspired. And so the person who's maybe sitting on the couch watching TV a lot, not as inspired or motivated as me, while that's different, that could also be their design, right? There may be a projector and they need to just sit back and kind of absorb information and reflect it when they're ready. But that design just needs a lot more downtime.
Is there I hate to say influencer, but is there like somebody specific that you might listen to as a podcast or something that you've learned this stuff from?
No,
I mean, you got to be hearing Manny Design or whatever on somewhere. Like,
I mean, you take a quiz, right? You put in your...
Is this like an online thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your date of birth, time of birth, and location of birth. And then it's drawing on a lot of different modalities to pull your human design together. So I don't even understand it fully. There are people
Is it like
who
AI?
This is like their job. No, I mean, it would be like Enneagram or love language, like anything where you would take a quiz and answer some questions about yourself or input your information to sort of pull like your astrological sign, right? It's kind of along that premise, but it seems like it pulls from so many different areas of knowledge that you read through it and you're like, oh, yeah.
Probably some sort of AI involved there pulling from.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You could add it into chat. I've done that. And I said, now that you know what my human design is, you know what my moon cycle looks like, and you know what my goals are for my business for the rest of the year, can you put this into a calendar for me so I know how to be most productive each week, right? Because I've really leaned into like women who get periods and how that shows up in business. And it's like when we're in our ovulation week, we feel more magnetic and social. So we should be doing podcasts and having our meetings. And then when we're in menstrual and we don't feel good, that could be our like stay at home, work on the stuff that we don't like to work on kind of week. So we're still working, but it gets to look different, you know? So you can definitely put it into chat and have it help you like make suggestions to make your life easier.
So tell me how that's working. Like, give me like a business. I mean, because you're multi-business right now. So what are you working on specifically right now? First of all.
Yeah, I think the big thing right now is understanding. Although that is my human design, you can't really give 100% to a bunch of different things at the same time.
Right.
And I feel like I turned 39 this year, and it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm almost 40. So now I just really don't care what anybody thinks about me at all, like even more than I ever did before, you know? And so I'm feeling called to make my goods a little bit more natural. Like I want to make beeswax candles, and anything I make with scent in it, I want it to be essential oil, not fragrance. So that'll be sort of like a winter project that I start working on. I have a whole workshop full of fragrance, so I won't be like done with my soy candles anytime soon, but it'll kind of be this transition into things that are just feel more aligned all over. So it's even like my services now are, I guess my favorite one or my signature one is a combination of massage and Reiki and coaching. Like you get all of it together, because then whatever comes up during Reiki, we have time to talk about. Whether they see something or hear something, or I see something or hear something, we kind of have that time after. And then I'm almost giving them, I don't think legally I can call it a prescription. So I'm just saying it's like a ritual or a suggestion, depending on what areas are blocked and what came through for Reiki, like what they should be adding into their life to sort of balance some of that stuff out. So if they're really ungrounded, we're talking about ways to kind of get them out of their head and into their body. And I think we're just in a season where a lot more people are looking for alternative answers, maybe.
What are you noticing with the, like, can you, I don't know if you, I mean, I don't want names or anything like that, and I'm not sure. Perhaps you can just mention something that's come up with somebody that you've helped somebody through.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, there's so much. Every client is so different, right? So the more you do Reiki, right, you're relying on your intuition. And so you're always questioning like, okay, is this thing that I just heard, is it real? Is it true? Will it make sense to my client when I share? Or is my brain just doing like crazy stuff right now? And so I remember having a newer client come in, and I always start at the feet for grounding, because I just think we're always up here coming to an appointment. And so just to get people to kind of drop in. And as I was sitting there, I felt like immense grief, like just really heavy, sad. And I'm like, I don't really know this woman, but like, I'm just going to let her know that that's how I felt when I was working there. And she was going through this really big like work transition for her. And it was kind of this idea of like, she hadn't grieved what her future was going to look like with this one job. Although she was really excited for the job that was next, she hadn't like given into this idea of like, well, my life was supposed to look this certain way and now it's going to look different. And so I kind of brought up at the end, I said, I don't know if this makes sense, but there was this moment for me that felt like just really sad. And she's like, yeah, there was this grief that I couldn't even understand. And it was kind of tied in with like memories of my grandma and grandpa, like sad memories of grandma and grandpa, right? And I was like, yeah, it is this like block in her body that she needs to make time to just be sad that her life looks different, even though she's happy about the direction it's headed. And so it was little things like that where I'm like, I don't like know this chick. And I said, I felt this thing. And she was like, yeah, me too. And so it feels very validating to be able to like offer this to people. And they go, yeah, that's right.
So where does this come from, do you think?
The Reiki?
The intuition, Reiki. Where and why? See, this is the stuff I dig. Like,
yeah.
I'm into the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
You know, we all deal with stuff, and there's a ton of stories and stuff like that, and that's great, you know, everything. But how does it work?
That's like the fun part for me, right? Because you're going to have skeptical people who you can't see that it works. When I receive Reiki, most times I fall asleep because that's what I need. I'm just tired. It doesn't mean I don't get the benefit from the session, right? Or that the practitioner didn't experience something on my behalf. And it's all energy. And so that's my favorite thing. Like if you're a science nerd and you appreciate physics, then you have to believe me when I say it's energy. Even if I'm just giving a massage and I'm not trying to do Reiki, if you guys come in and your body's warm and my hands are cold from washing them in the sink, it doesn't take very long before my hands match your body temperature, right? Because we're transferring energy. So that is how Reiki works. And I think the process is so neat that you go through your training so you can attune to this energy. And so you're doing it very intentionally. And it's always showing up for the client's greatest good. And so I just offer a little prayer, if you will, at the beginning. That's like, I'm going to try to ask my ego to take a seat so I can rely on my intuition for the session, because the way I see things is as my own stuff. And so I always have to discern like, okay, this image that's coming up is of my own life. So what from this feels important to ask the client about without me being like, is this my ego? Am I just daydreaming about my life? But it always seems relevant when I ask.
Anybody can do this.
I agree.
Whoa, that's really loud.
Downtown.
Edit that out. Yeah, I feel like there's so many people that just don't believe in the whole energy transfer.
What are your
and
thoughts
they're shut
on
down
it?
as a result. I think it's so funny, ridiculous, selfish for people to think that a human being is a piece of meat that's just living here all alone on the earth by themselves and not connected to
something greater.
Yeah, like if you think of where we've all come from, like there's a guy, a podcast I listened to. He had a lady in who had a stroke, actually, a hemorrhagic one, just like Nick had had. She took 7 years to heal the left side of her brain, so she was all living in this emotional state, creative state, whatever, for a long time as the organized,
the logic side.
Was healing. But she brought in, and she was also a doctor. She brought in to this podcast a human brain with all the layers on it, but it was still attached to all the nerves. So these nerves are hanging down. Yeah. And to see that jellyfish thing there and then she started saying, this came from an egg and one little tiny other cell. Yeah. And how does that happen? DNA, whatever. But take a step back. How does that happen? How did that happen? Where did that happen from? How did, there's got to be something throwing this. And then the whole, the whole, what do they call I can never come up with the term living in a virtual reality kind of thing. What do they call that theory?
Like multiverse, you mean?
More than that, where it's we're like playing a video game.
Yeah.
What's it called, Nick? Oh, yeah. Anyhow, yeah. Like this is all set.
Yeah.
But I'm a firm believer that we're all connected somewhere up there, and if we shut down this ego, the egotistical part of our human being, then we can connect.
Yeah.
And the more I listen to people in the know, people that have, physicists that have been part of the government doing research here and there, and the more I hear about that, like, they know something's going on and they're kind of trying to hide it.
Okay.
Somebody said, like, that's the reason religion was created, is to separate the human being from the rest of the
from that which is. Yeah.
Not to connect, but to separate.
Yeah.
Because they want us dumb.
Time ago.
They want us living as these pieces of meat, like to tell somebody initially that they're, I don't mean to Christianity bash or anything, but to tell somebody that they're a sinner right off the bat, you're naughty and you need to repent the rest of your life. Like, that's just, that's evil.
The shame that people carry when they come in for sex and relationship coaching, like the shame from religion is like almost untouchable. It takes a lot of work. It breaks my heart for those
It's
people.
almost untouchable.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah, you can get over, what you learned from your parents, but can you really get over what you learned from your parents? Like, it's years and years, or from religion or whatever.
We've been talking about this so much because it first of all requires that this said human has that awareness, right? Oh, I am this way because of how I was raised. To even know that requires awareness that a lot of humans don't have.
Yeah.
But it's like, then once you know that, are you going to do something about it? Because if you're almost 40 and you have these triggers that are from your childhood, but you haven't done any work to like work through them, then whose responsibility is it, right? Yeah. And so it's just that awareness that, like, I know this stuff, now I have to work on it. And then reading the books, listening to the podcast, knowing it, that's part of it. Yeah. But actually, like, embodying this stuff and really integrating it and becoming the human that not only knows that information but lives that way takes like so much more awareness, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that first step is just the hugest one, just like recognizing, like, wow, that really affected me. It's like the first step in AAA, AA.
Yeah.
AAA. Admitting it. That's happened to me. Or that's the way I am, and now I need to work on it.
Yeah, which is crazy because you would think there would be such more of a need for coaching, and it's really surprised me that people aren't ready for it here. Because I surround myself with people having these kind of conversations all the time, right? We're like, this happened to me as a kid, and I know, right? Mom forgot me one day in kindergarten. And I know as a grown up that she was working and forgot, and it wasn't because she didn't love me or she was abandoning me, but it showed up in my body as abandonment, right? And so now I need to work through that in this life as a grown up when things trigger my rejection or abandonment wound that my mom never gave me on purpose, right? How do I still stay like healthy, The
other thing is realizing that you, I mean, this is my belief, that you've, before you were born, chose that.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Which gives you so much compassion for, sure, my dad was an alcoholic and I grew up in a bar and my mom became codependent and I became codependent and all of that on the outside sounds shitty. And also, I believe I picked these parents to learn these lessons probably so I could end up as a healer person, right? Because I've had this experience.
So therefore,
now.
am I going to shut down because, I was given this life? Or, well, I chose it. I need to live it.
Yeah.
And do the best I can living it.
Yeah, don't be a victim.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's huge. That just reframing.
Perspective. Totally.
It's huge, I think. And I'm a firm believer, actually, that, and I know you like to go to classes and therapies and give therapies and everything like that.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer that meditation, like, is all you need.
Yep.
Because when you shut down the ego and you connect, you're getting everything you need. I mean, you can, you can, I think you can learn a new language.
Yeah.
Doing that.
You could. You have to make
Rather
space
than going
for
to class.
it, which is where meditation's important.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you.
So I mean, if you ask, you're in a state, you're struggling or whatever. Okay, this is what I need today, and then shut your brain down, connect, and meditate. And then you're gonna get what you need.
Yeah.
People don't believe it. People don't give time for it. People don't know how to do it, and so they can go to therapy sessions and training sessions for this, that, and everything else. Which, I mean, training's important. You need to have guidance on where to go and what steps to take. And it might be something that the meditation is giving you, or setting in your synchronicities that are they're putting in front of you. But
yeah.
And so recognizing those moments too, and taking advantage of those moments. But people need to give themselves that space in the meditation to do it. And I think they're afraid to do it.
They are.
Afraid of their own minds.
They have to sit with themselves.
Afraid of connecting to the thing. I mean, that's a big deal, to be honest with you.
So beautiful over here, though. I wish everyone would.
I know. But if you think about it, like, people think probably, I'm not ready. I'm afraid of what those people or the group, everything, is going to think about me. You know what I mean?
And also,
when I put myself in front of all that,
when you know
Mom's going to see me up there.
You have to do it, right? If you receive in meditation that, like, hey, yeah, you're kind of a butthole and you need to work on this thing, then you need to actually go work on that thing. And people don't want to do that, right? They just want to hear that they're awesome. And so when you have to sit with your shadow self, like, people's ego gets in the way, right? It's easier to go to church on Sunday and repent for your sins than just not sin to begin with, right? Because it takes awareness and doing that work.
I think people are connecting. People are they're coming around,
I think so, too.
We talk about it all the time, like how, this world is this here, and we're here in this world, and blah, blah, blah. But, like, if you think about, like, how many people that, even just that I know that have quit drinking, and that you hear, like, on podcasts that just stop drinking. I don't need it. Yeah. Compared to, like, Grandma and Grandpa's time, when it was like, the bar and cigarettes were the place, thing to do, you know?
It was socially acceptable. And I think it's even crazy because breweries, like, it's just the dynamic is different. And I mean, we've talked about this since we went to the gym together, because I really don't drink that much either. I mean, now I'll have wine or something once in a while, but I was sober for 2 years because I recognized I was drinking for the wrong reason, right? It wasn't to enjoy a glass of whiskey. It was because, man, that boy I was talking to from Tinder said the wrong thing. I wasn't really drinking for the right reason, which is why I gave it up to begin with. Now, when I do drink it, for me, it's like, it is red wine because it goes with charcuterie and it makes the meal for me. It's not about escaping, and I don't remember if I had read the book at the time, but it's How to Quit Like a Woman. And she goes in and she talks about the difference between her way, right, and the AA way. The AA way is very, like, masculine, and if you mess up, you have to start back over from day one, right? They take your chip away, and it feels very, like, shameful. Like, that'd be hard to mess up. And so her way was a little bit more, like, if you can imagine, feminine and flowy and organic, and really wanted to look at, how do we create a life you don't need an escape from? Because your addiction is your escape from your reality, right? So if you start making your reality so much greater, you don't feel like you need those things anymore. And I would say, like, even from my sweat lodge training, I had a couple intensives this summer, and we learned about impeccability. I got to see my aura, and the leader was so sweet. He's like, okay, we're going to do this exercise, and for part of it, I'm going to be lying. So just know that. And I got to look in front of a mirror and, like, see my aura, and he started giving me some compliments, and I could see it growing bigger. And then when he was lying, he was, like, giving me a hard time, but I could see it shrinking, even though I knew he was just joking around. And I realized through all that training and feeling more open and more connected, like, spiritually, that some of those things get in the way of that connection for me. Drinking and weed and stuff like that.
You got to tell me more about the sweat lodge.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me.
It was like, I didn't know what to expect, right? My friend Logan has been trying to get me to go since.
Where is it?
I first met him. They live down in Cottage Grove.
So Wisconsin, and they just kind of have a sweat sweat thing there.
Yeah, it's like a lot of training, right? And they do different intensives. So there's like martial arts and Brazilian jiu-jitsu and things like that they offer too.
Do they have like people who are actually skilled and come and teach this stuff, or are they kind of like jacks of all trade? And
he's skilled, right? He trained with a gentleman. It's like a Judeo-Christian Native American philosophy, specifically like Apache. So we learned a lot about Apache ways and how like the biggest celebration they even have is like a ceremony for when girls get their periods, right? Like it is this big honor. All these families come in, they all cook this food. It's a multi-day celebration, and like they're honoring the moon cycle for the woman, which like our society is so far removed from that thing, right? But he had taken this training through like elders. And so they build a sweat lodge, and they have Pendleton blankets that go over the top, and it's a whole like process, right? You fast leading up to it. So even before you go, you're trying to not eat a lot of meat or have caffeine or sugar, things like that, because then you're fasting the day of. They believe that weakening the physical helps you access the spiritual. So then the first time I went was the sweat lodge experience, and then we went home that next morning, I think. And this one was a little bit more. We sat out on quest while the guys went and did their vigils. So we sat up all night after the sweat lodge, just praying for them to have whatever experience they needed to have and to like keep them safe. And so it added that element of like, man, now I'm up all night and I'm doing this for like another human. And it's just, that's how they did it. That's why they dance, because they stay up all night. And so it's a thing that when you move your body, it's easier to stay awake in those situations. And so it's just like a lot of fun information. There were like different movie clips that they presented that you could see like what they were trying to teach in these movies from it. But a lot of it was impeccability. And the whole premise is how to raise boys and girls to be good men and women. Because we're living in a society where children are being raised by children right now. And we're messing up badly.
Yeah, it's funny because that strikes in a way. Children are being raised by children.
Yeah, it's hard to hear, isn't it?
It was like 43 when I finally learned that nobody knows what the fuck they're doing in this life. It doesn't matter how old they are.
Yeah, we're all winging it.
I remember my dad asking me one time, he says, "How did I do?" I was like, what are you talking about? How did I do raising you guys?
Yeah.
I was like, you don't freaking know, you were my dad. Are you kidding me? You know?
Yeah.
And then now having raised some kids, like it's like, no, we don't know what's going on.
Just trying to do better than our parents did, you know?
Make a decision. We're not sure if it's a right decision. It's, you know,
yeah, I'm still
doesn't matter how old we are. It's a secret that those kids like, when am I going to learn the adult secrets? Well, there's one of them.
Right.
You know? We don't know what the fuck we're doing.
We're just winging it along with you. Yeah, I agree. Do the best that we can, right?
Yeah. You know, I would probably have talked to adults a lot differently as a kid if I knew that.
Yeah.
And understood it.
Like more respectfully, you mean?
No, I wouldn't have trusted everything that they, I wouldn't have been a follower.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would have been more me.
Mm-hmm. I know. I thought about that. I just came back from Colorado Springs, and there was this mother behind me, and she kept shushing her little child. And like the little child wasn't bothering me, but he was just speaking loudly because you're on an airplane and he's excited. And I just thought about recently some stuff that has come up with clients is a lot of times, especially as a little girl, I talk too much, right? I still talk too much. And I said, I have this vivid memory of my favorite uncle, and I love him so much. And I remember at a birthday party, him looking at me going, boy, you sure have a lot to say, don't you, Cailee? And I like knew in that moment as a little girl that he wanted me to shut up, that I was talking too much, And so it's like we grow up being made to feel like we should be seen and not heard and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so I was thinking about this little kid who behind me in the airplane wasn't really doing anything wrong. But every single time the mom kept going, shh, shh, shh. And I was like, man, I wonder at what age as kids do we like internalize that and be like, yeah, we're supposed to be quiet.
Yeah.
I almost wanted to turn around and say something, but I was like, I don't know how to nicely tell her, like, just let your kid be a kid. He's not bothering anybody,
There's a lot of that like even like I notice it now, and aunts and uncles or something ask a little kid, like, you got a girlfriend? You got a girlfriend at school?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're doing it wrong.
Anything else?
Yeah. I know even my family still does that. And actually,
you're totally.
The friend I went to see in Colorado, she introduced me to a lot of these concepts, and I appreciate her for this a lot. That she's like, or we could just ask, like, did something interesting happen today? Or who's the most interesting person in your class?
Yeah.
And not make it. And I find myself even guilty of this now that Ryder has friends that are girls, because my first thought is like, oh, like a girlfriend? Because I'm just excited, And I think it's like, no, Mom, if something changes, I'll let you know, And I'm like, so he's just friends with all these girls, and that's just normal. But that's almost my own work to do, that I never grew up with safe men. Any man that was in my life either was a family person, or I assumed they were trying to hit on me, right? Because I grew up in a bar with gross men. And so even just having friends now that are guys, like I just went for a hike into lunch with a guy friend today, and the whole time I had to be like, he's not trying to hit on you. He just wants to like spend time doing stuff outside. But my story is that if a man and a woman hang out, they must romantically like want more. And so I'm looking at it
Go back
in regards to Ryder, and I'm like, stop it.
You grew up in a bar. Tell me about that.
Yeah.
What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, nothing good.
No.
I think when we're little, we're really excited about it. We think it's so cool that our dad owns a bar and we get to practice playing shitty pool.
Do you know what bar did your dad own?
Yeah, so I'm from Wausau.
Do you know what bar your dad owns?
Yeah, he owned a couple. And actually, I feel like in Wausau, Bill's Fine Food was kind of a big deal. It was like a bar, almost like a supper club.
Sounds like
how I would say it. Yeah, but we were open for breakfast because I'd have to go home at bar time and then show up for breakfast when the breakfast waitress didn't show up. The burden fell on me to do all the things that needed to get done, and also as like a 12-year-old train like a 50-year-old waitress and be like, this is how you do your job. And I'm the owner's daughter, so you can't be mean. Like, it just felt...
And I have to bring my daddy his breakfast.
Uncomfortable. Yeah, it was like, I did my best, And I think mostly it was great, and there were a lot of life lessons. Like, to this day, gambling has no appeal to me, because I would see people come in and just gamble their entire weekly paycheck away that night and spend it on liquor and stuff like that. But there were nights that, like, we would have to sleep on the concrete office floor because Dad wasn't ready to go home. I mean, an alcoholic buying a bar is just not a good business decision, right?
Yeah.
But as a kid, you love your dad and you just like do the things. And so in hindsight, I realized like I learned a lot, and also it was not the place I needed to be. Like, I should have been able to be with friends and stuff like that, but I always had to work.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, my mom never stepped in and said, I don't think you guys need to be here. And so there's probably some unresolved grief with that too.
So what's your dad up to now?
He is no longer with us.
What's your mom up to now?
Great question. I'm not very close with my family. And it's not by choice. It's just how they show up. So 2 Christmases ago, I kind of mentioned this to Mom when I was home, and I said, I've got clients coming in all the time that are really close with their mom, like best friends. And that's not ever going to be us. But I do wonder what it would look like to be closer. And she looked right at me and she goes, well, I don't know how that's possible when you live 3 hours away. And at that time, the gentleman I was dating was like FaceTiming his uncle in Texas every day, and his mom down there. And it's like, you can like text and call. Like, there's a way to connect. But it almost felt like
Did you mention that to
was
her?
upset that I had moved, maybe.
Obviously.
But like the way she said it, she still had some unresolved anger for that. But I moved here because my son's father lives here. Like, it was a decision I had to make.
I feel like a lot of moms are that way, where they want to keep their kids close to them. And they do anything they can to.
Yeah. Like, are you taking it personally that I have to go raise my son in lacrosse? Because it's not anything against you, Mom. This is just the life I need for my family. Yeah. So I don't know what's there. It's really fascinating. We're not super close. She's been very available for my hard questions as I've been healing the last couple of years. I kind of just text her and give her a heads up, like, hey, when you're ready, I have some hard questions. And she's like, okay.
So do you guys then FaceTime and talk about the questions, or?
No, it's just like a voice call.
Telephone?
On speaker, Usually I take notes because I kind of write the questions down, and that way I can go back and meditate.
Well, that's cool that she's
journal.
available,
Yeah, I think she's trying in her way, maybe, if that makes sense. But
Oh, yeah.
we're just not. My friend came down yesterday for a past life regression. Have you had one of those sessions
I haven't.
before? They're pretty great.
Yeah.
And we met for dinner after, and she was going back home to Wausau, and she's like, so are you coming home for Christmas or not? And I was like, I don't know, dude. I'm still undecided. She's like, well, if you want to come home and hang out for Christmas, I'll be available. And I was like, I have already bought some gifts, so I think I probably would decide to go. It's just, I've got my old dog, right? Apollo's 14. And like staying at home isn't ideal, so I probably have to get an Airbnb. And so it's just a lot of effort that goes into these family things that don't feel reciprocal.
Especially with the dogs.
Yeah.
They are big.
Yeah.
Big deal when
It's
you're
a
making
lot to consider.
plans and stuff. Yeah.
But it's also like, if I were to drop my ego at the end of the day, what kind of daughter do I want to be?
Bring the dog along.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's coming with.
Stay with your mom.
Well, yeah, I could stay there. That feels a little overwhelming for me. Maybe.
Does she have like a separate space, like a basement, or is it just like, here's your old bedroom?
So speaking of addictions, my mom's addiction is hoarding.
Oh, so that might be a challenge for you too.
And I've got a room. There's room.
I don't mean to laugh.
No, I love her to death. I mean, I understand.
I think I have a hoarder.
Yeah, and I
one of
told
my
her
units.
after Dad passed away and we had to clean out his house, I said, Mom, if you die with all this stuff in your house, like, I'm going to come find you because I don't want to have to get a dumpster and do this again. So you need to start cleaning out this stuff now. So she's having little garage sales and like doing the things to try to manage this. But I can just compassionately see it is her escape from her reality, right? I don't think she has like the greatest life situation right now, and she can't really do much about
Does she
it.
have friends?
I would say no. She is in book club though, which makes me very happy for her.
Is it an online book club? Or
No,
is that
they
go
meet
to?
in real life.
That's good.
I know. It's my aunt on my dad's side. It kind of puts it together, and Patty's a good egg, so I feel like that's helpful. But like, yeah, I think my mom could just stay home and exist by herself forever if no one like reached out to her to spend time with her. And it just like hurts my heart for her, that maybe she feels that unworthy of love or connection, that it feels
Has she
safer to sit
dated
home.
anybody since your dad?
Well, yeah. So here's the thing. She's remarried. My stepdad has been in there probably 30 years in her life, I would guess. But for the last 4,
Thanks, Nick.
He's been recovering from foot surgery. He had to have a foot amputated. Hunting accident a long time ago. He's diabetic, so like just progression of that. They had to amputate his foot, and he hasn't been able to go home to get up and walk and be strong enough to do the things that would allow for him to go home.
Huh.
And so mom's just kind of been existing.
Yeah.
I imagine it has to be lonely.
When did your dad pass away?
He passed away in 2015.
So pretty recent, 10 years.
It's been a while, but it took me until this was like, do you remember when I was doing surrogacy stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so I went to Austin, Texas for some continuing education.
I
And
was right around 21 or something, right?
that sounds right. Yeah. Because it was like Father's Day weekend that I was there learning Lomi Lomi techniques for massage, which was awesome. I got like all 24 credits done in 3 days. So I was like, this is great. But it was also when I was connecting with the intended parents and had decided that Sunday, that Father's Day, that we were going to move forward, us 3, and to try to do this thing. But that morning, I had went out for breakfast tacos, as one does in Texas, because everywhere I went had breakfast tacos. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, we
Best
don't
thing
we don't
ever.
have them in La Crosse.
I know. It's such a bummer. And I was sitting there and I
Nor do we
heard
have
2
burritos.
gentlemen come in and just sort of greet each other and say, well, happy Father's Day. And I had like totally forgotten, right? So it's 6 years after Dad passed away, I forgot about Father's Day, but there was this voice that morning that was like, hey, you haven't been able to grieve the loss of your dad because you've been so angry at him this whole time. I was like stuck in the anger piece. And so it just illuminated, again, having time to get away, essentially on an airplane, you meditate, right? Because there's nothing else going on. And it just created that space to be able to hear that like next piece. And I was ready to hear it and be like sad and then go, okay, yeah, I have been angry. So how do I like let go of that anger? And it's been a process.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So
good.
what did you learn in your latest past life regression?
Yeah, was really interesting. So
I
I've
like
only
this
done the
stuff.
one. The first one I did, though, I did at a retreat this summer out at Justin Trails. And so it was a group past life regression. So you just got like a few minutes in this life.
I never heard of that place until I had a picture to sell the place. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, it's
And it's
pretty
kind of
cute.
like this secretive. I mean, there's really not a lot of information about it online or anything even.
Because it's like a family-run ordeal.
It's a nice location.
Disc golf and just all the things out there. Yeah, we got to walk around. It was pretty cool. But this past life I visited, and I have to say, as a meditation human, she kind of explains that she's going to walk you through this guided meditation. It's supposed to be like a hypnosis. And I think any like rational human is going to be like, well, this isn't going to work. You know, you're like, I meditate all the time. You're going to put me in a meditation that's going to get me to visit a past life. Like, we'll see. But sure enough, just the way you go through and where you go back, I ended up in the life right before this one. And for me, what
Was it
I
on
saw,
Earth?
well, I don't think I was here yet. I don't know where I was. And when I explained this to Shannon, she said, oh yeah, that shape of building, people see that a lot when they're traveling in their past lives. And it was like, it looked like the Washington Monument, right? Just this really tall white building. And for me, I got to go up to the top and kind of learn part of my purpose for this life. And it was to love everybody unconditionally, especially people that don't deserve it. And like specifically at the end of that was your mother.
And your father.
Dang. But I always had love for dad. I think my love for mom has always been different.
Okay.
And not that I don't love her, but because she's always been so cold. Like, dad said he loved you all the time. So much that you were like, yeah, okay, sure. Show me you love me because you say you love me, right? Where mom would never say it unless something bad happened. And so it almost felt like this sneaky, like, well, let me just say I love you so you're not like mad, you know? And so
That's interesting because it's like switched roles, it seems like, for a
Totally.
lot of the...
yeah. And I think that like my dad said it a lot because maybe he didn't hear it as a lot. You know, he was doing that thing, like we said, to try to be a better parent than like your parents were. Yeah. And I imagine that my mom is a better parent than her parents were, but I think she had a lot of stuff happen and like just needs some love. And so I'm here to love her unconditionally. And I don't even know if in this lifetime she'll even know that.
You should give her Thanksgiving then. Or Christmas?
Yeah.
Christmas?
Yeah.
Was it Christmas or Thanksgiving?
Mm-hmm.
Christmas. Yeah.
But that was my biggest question when I came out of that is like, okay, so how do I love this human unconditionally who very clearly loves me conditionally while still maintaining boundaries? Because what are my boundaries where it feels like I can love her, but I'm not loving myself, right? That for me is where it gets sticky.
Yeah.
And I think I just figure it out as I go.
That's all we can do. Mm-hmm. That's all we can do.
Is there advice you have for adult children? Is that why you're telling me to give mom Christmas?
No, it just feels right based on what you're talking about and maybe what that past life regression was telling you.
Yeah.
But I totally respect the boundaries part of it too. And so being a hoarder, that could be extra sticky there, you know, but like getting an Airbnb or something that allows dogs and
Feels like a good compromise. 'Cause
Yeah.
then I have my own space.
yeah,
You know?
it's always nice to be able to say, okay, I'm going to go, you know, and you'll be here tomorrow or in an hour or whatever it is, but I'm going to go be able to separate, get away.
Family's complicated,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I remember when I was in college and, you know, I went back to visit my parents and had dinner and I just felt like I was like the odd man out, you know, okay, let's sit down and watch a program together. And I'm just kind of like looking around like everybody's enjoying this. I'm not. Like really don't
Seriously
feel like I belong here. And
yeah,
it's just sort of a weird thing.
and it's like, so this is how they exist regularly. They just eat dinner and watch TV and never actually have connection or conversation or play games. And it feels weird when you're making a 3-hour trip home and making arrangements for your senior dog and doing all this stuff that like
they're just going to settle right into their own life.
That's where they can
There
meet
you are.
Yeah. Like you feel like a burden.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, why do I do that? Honestly, I would rather go on vacation for Christmas if it made sense.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I have my son that week, and then that holiday is his dad's. So there's some like switching midweek where I'm like, man, if he had just been at his dad's the whole week, I was like, I was just going to go somewhere. But I had my trip this week. So.
I have this really great photo of my father, my stepmother, and my partner like in my kitchen. Mm-hmm. And all three of them are like in their phone.
Yeah.
Like stand there.
I just listened to a podcast about this too. It's just
whatever, I do too, but
we do, but we're also aware of it, right?
Yeah,
because
try to be.
There is this like disconnection happening. And listening to that podcast, I was like, yeah, now you see people constantly. He was speaking to this idea of after COVID, everybody was so grateful to be able to go back out in public and be around people and be asking people how they've been. That like phones were available, but they weren't a priority. It was the people that were a priority. And now we've gotten so far past COVID and like reemerging into the real world that we're just back to right where we were, if not worse.
Yeah.
And so I remember the session I had with my psychic this summer too. I said, I don't quite have a vision on what relationship coaching looks like. So if you have any forethought or anything that you could help me like marketing wise, I get a little lost because there's so many directions you could take it. And she said, that's because you're a spiritual coach. And I was like, no. I went to school for sex and relationship coaching. And she's like, no. You're a spiritual coach. And that's what I mean about that speaker training too. It's like ever since yoga teacher training in 2018, I've been leaning into meditating and journaling and yoga and just going for a walk, like spiritual practices that feel good for me. That this idea that now I can share that and help other people. It's like, man, I've been training for this whole time. But people are feeling so disconnected. They need some answers. And if you look, the way I explain it is what I call God is love, right? I would say I'm more spiritual than religious, but I consider when I'm journaling, that is me praying, right? I'm asking for the things. So when I sit in meditation, hopefully I can hear them. But at the end of the day, if everything we're connected to that's greater is really similar, and it's all kind of saying the same thing, can we call that thing love? And I don't think I've ever seen in history a time where we've been more removed from love than right now. And so it feels like this is the thing that people are looking for, right? And it might not be your traditional Christian church way. It might be this spiritual yoga meditation because the church way hasn't worked.
Right. So what do you use to ground things? I mean, that church was the grounding point. And I agree with you. It's not working. Yeah. And that's why people are coming away from it. So what do you, and moving forward, what do you use to ground? Because, I mean, you can talk in esoteric terms and everything that, but people don't get it.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand. So how do you guide them and say?
That's been the mission, right? To find the people that are ready. Because I've had coaching clients that are like, I need to say I'm doing coaching. And I'm telling them, sister, you just need to go for a walk. Your anxiety medication is at the highest dose your doctor can give you. You can't function and they can't do anything else for you. And I'm telling you, you gotta move your body. And I remember when I first went to CrossFit and Kevin's like, what brings you here? And I was like, rage. Rage. Literally, yes, I knew. And I don't identify my feelings very well. This is work that I've been doing the last few years. But for the fact that I knew that anger, that like deep anger I had in there, like needed a safe outlet, CrossFit served that purpose for me, that I could do that, right?
What year was that? Remember?
And that had to be right around 2020. It was like right when I was going through my divorce and on the other side.
Was it before COVID or after?
I think after. Yeah, it was definitely after because I didn't have to deal with any of the rules, whatever you guys had to do for it. Mm-hmm. And now I do more intentional movement, things that I enjoy like yoga and hiking. But I think that is what grounds me is nature. And there's something so powerful when you're stuck in a loop in your head, right? People have OCD and they're starting to realize like, oh, it doesn't mean I clean all the time. It means that I have like an obsessive compulsive thought that wakes me up in the middle of the night. I can't go back to sleep. When you're stuck there, there's nothing you can think to get yourself out of that. You have to move your body. You don't have to do CrossFit, but you have to do something, you know? And so for me, it's like, that's where walking my dog has been huge. And now he's 14 and all we do is walk around the block. And I'm like, man, when he's gone, I got to still just walk myself. Mm-hmm. As weird as that like looks and feels now. But I'm like, there is something to just the sunshine. Even yesterday, I stopped for a little bit because when I walk him, it's like, it's his time, right? You're in the house all day long. When we take the 20 minutes to go around the block, you lead. I'll walk when you do. So I was just waiting for him to sniff all the things. And I was just standing there with leaves falling around me. And I was processing part of this like experience with my former partner. And I said, yeah, it feels like I have to grieve what was good. Like it makes sense when you're first out of a relationship that like everything sucks and you hate them and they're terrible and it's easy to be angry, right? But I was like, but there is good here too. And that's what makes it hard to let go of stuff sometimes. And so it was just this like visual of leaves falling down around me going, yeah, this is the thing I just need to let go of yet. That meditation that comes from just slowing down and letting the dog walk you, you know?
That's a good way to put it. Letting the dog walk you. That taking that moment and enjoying this exact moment throughout the day.
Just
this
presence.
Morning, my dog got a piece of pizza from the ground. I get so frustrated walking in the neighborhood that I live in because it's just like college kids drunk walking home and like throwing shit on the ground constantly. And Ozzy's always grabbing something in his mouth. You never know what he's gonna.
But don't you find it grounding or
weren't
not?
You married in the last I met you? Last I saw you?
The last relationship? Yeah, we had a commitment ceremony. So,
okay.
Yes. Not legally.
And let me ask how that changed.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Like doing the commitment ceremony, did that change your relationship? Did that put like a little bit more pressure on or anything?
I didn't feel that it did because I just show up the same way all the time, whether married or not, right? Like this is who I am. For him, he really values commitment. And so this is where having a values conversation was really important because for him, that loyalty and integrity was really important. Where for me, if this situation is toxic and unhealthy, I value my health and well-being over commitment. I'm not going to stay in a situation that when I go to the doctor and they ask me questions about depression, all of a sudden I'm answering yes to all those questions. Like I've never been a depressed human. And so it took me having that experience at the hospital to go, I just answered yes to all of these questions. That's not okay. And so it was hard having that conversation because he values commitment more and thinks that everything's figure outable. And for me, as a relationship coach, I think the first relationship that's really important is the one that we have with ourselves. And so it was like, well, I can stay and I can try to figure out this hard, but it is like slowly killing me. I wasn't eating food. I wasn't sleeping. I was just really struggling, right? I was the lowest weight I'd ever been, and you have your girlfriends being like, how'd you get so skinny? And I'd be like, I'm depressed and not eating, like ladies, careful how you ask that question too, right? Because you never know what people are going through. And so even that was hard. I'm like, man, on the other end, like I've weighed a lot. I've never not weighed not a lot. And so to get complimented on being skinny when I know the reason I'm skinny is because I'm unwell feels icky,
So you got out of the relationship. You do anything else to kind of recover from depression, or did you take any medications? Did you
no medication? Blah, blah, blah? I think some days were hard. There was that awareness that like even though I'm surrounded by people, I felt completely alone. And I feel like now I'm in a season where I'm making solitude my bitch. And I'm like, I never feel lonely.
That's a great t-shirt.
I appreciate being alone.
Do you steal it from somewhere?
No.
Make solitude your bitch.
And I just am. I just enjoy sitting
I don't
at
know
home.
exactly if we pick that apart what that means,
But yeah, just like prioritizing unhurried time just
girlfriend.
for myself, you know? I think there was a day where he called, and I mistakenly answered the phone, but I did. And he
Purposely or mistakenly?
Well, it didn't take long for me to regret that decision.
Yeah,
I thought I
gotcha.
had the capacity for the conversation, and I quickly realized I did not. But he had asked me if I wanted to come with him for the day to this thing, and I was like, actually, no. I really just want to stay home today and not leave the house one time. I've got all the food I need for the day. I've got plenty to do around here. I run around every other day. Like, I just want to embrace this solitude. It's given me this time to kind of recharge and rebuild what I felt like was lost. So January this year, I moved back to La Crosse to my house that I had been working on renovating to sell, which I did sell in June. And I just existed there for a few months, like packing things up, finishing projects, really just
You have another house,
rebuilding my light. We had an Airbnb too, and my friends Jamie and Scott that did it, they're like, if at any time you want to move into the bungalow, like we can be done. And when we had that conversation in January, I wasn't ready to be done with that too, because I felt like I was just done with this other big relationship. But as I looked at rentals around town, I was like, we renovated that house. It's super cute. It's affordable. Like, yeah, maybe this does make sense. And so a lot of what I live by is this art of surrender that is really, really hard sometimes. And I'm like, I think when we try too hard, we get in our own way. And so I was like, yeah, I plan on selling the house in June. It's almost done. We can no longer do the bungalow. Again, our many passions, right? It was just this one other project we were doing that was getting in the way kind of all the other things we were excited about. And so we closed down the listings for the Airbnb and I moved in June and just been getting like cozy there ever since. And it feels good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
It's interesting when I have my experience at the Sweat Lodge now and we talk about being able to see that aura and to call it people's light. And my friend Logan earlier this year had looked at me and said, your light's gone. And I just took it the way everyone else takes it, right? Like, yeah, I'm not as like happy and bubbly and full of sunshine as I normally am. Other people have said that to me too. But to know now after my last training in September, when he said that, what he meant, that like literally he couldn't see my aura, like my light was gone because it was just such an unfortunate, unhealthy relationship.
Oh.
You know, and I was like, man.
Is it back?
I think so.
Back?
I think that
you have confirmed it
the things
with
that I've been
Logan.
doing have been really making it feel like it's back. And I said, honestly, after the first Sweat Lodge, I woke up in a different timeline. I'm like, I think I am more and more like my old self than I've ever been, but I've been able to tie it in with like all the wisdom I've gained along the way to like show up more fully as myself. And it's been really great. It's good. It's a work in progress, and there's definitely moments where I can still feel like caught off guard by stuff that maybe triggers me that I thought I was over. But I felt so open and connected after my Sweat Lodge training that it's like, this is just kind of where I want to exist. And any person or thing that takes away from my peace, I just kind of don't allow space for it anymore.
So if you were to say there's one thing that I can like give to the general public that would help them on a daily basis, like not just overcome depression, but one thing that just turn their aura on every day. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I suppose it'd be different for everybody, but
yes and no.
There's a grounding thing probably that.
I mean,
what would it be? There's something on your head already.
You know, there's so many things, right? My brain is going in two different directions. I think the overarching theme for everybody all the time is to come back to gratitude.
Gratitude.
I think if you wake up and then instead of looking at your phone right away for who's messaged you, you think about 3 reasons you're excited to get out of bed in the morning, that shifts your mindset
Yeah, I
right
think
away.
when people think of gratitude, they think of like, oh, I have to, thank somebody because I'm grateful for them.
And also,
but it's not, but it's not always about others. It's just being grateful for the moment, being grateful for my bed that I'm laying in. Oh my gosh, this is comfortable. I'm glad I have a bed.
I've got my pets here
simple
that
thing,
do so much for me, right?
Yeah, instead of, hey, this sucker's waking me up, early. Oh, what a nice wake up.
Yeah.
Reframing that too.
Like, we know our pets are good for us, so why would we ever be mean to them, right? They're doing the best that they can. Yeah. And I think, like, Bedros Keuilian speaks to this a lot too. He actually sends 3 gratitude texts. And for me, I'm like, I got to think of 3 people every day. Like, I don't know that I could do that. But even if I can think of one, and the other 2 things I think about are more personal, sending that gratitude text to somebody always pays off. Right? If you're thinking of this person that you're really grateful they're in your life and you tell them that in a text message, you're going to get a text message back from them later that day that says, oh my gosh, like, I needed to see this today, or that made my day, or you're also amazing because X, Y, Z. Like, there's no reason it's a bad thing. But I've come across that with some of my male clients too, that they have a hard time having those emotionally intimate conversations with other men, right? Because what if it means they're gay? And I'm like, right? You feel so unsafe telling another human you love and appreciate them that it would mean that you're gay. Like, that's also heartbreaking.
Gay liberation only depends on the liberation of the straight male.
I know.
Because
we have so much work to do.
Once it's okay not to be straight,
or
to be straight, then it'll be okay to be.
Just love.
Did I ever tell you my knowledge of the gay, straight, bisexual thing?
I don't think so.
And it's, I talk about it, as perhaps it might be a hypothesis, but it's actually the truth. It's how things work. It's not a gay straight thing. It's a bell curve.
Yeah. Fluid.
Yeah. Gay straight's more like the 15-20% ends, and everybody else is in the middle.
Yep.
And so that's why we're never going to convince the general public that being gay isn't a choice, because for most people it would be a choice because they can choose. Mm-hmm. There was one guy I remember many, many, many years ago that he's like, so what do you find in a guy that you can't find in a girl? I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about that question, like, that means you can find the same things in men and women. Mm-hmm. And most people are like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can't challenge them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think the main thing, the thing that I'm excited about right now for grounding is just rituals, right? So whatever that looks like for you.
Is it like, what do you mean, like having coffee?
Sure. But just making that time. I think that's the thing I realized over the span of my relationship is like, the codependent part of me was so worried about keeping my partner happy and keeping everything at peace. Because growing up as a child with your dad as an alcoholic, if you messed up, there was not peace, right? So you learn to just keep the peace all the time, that I forgot about who I was and what I wanted. And so now I tell everyone that'll listen, like, I'm living my best life. If I wake up and I decide I want to do something, I'm going to figure out how to do it. So I just got back from Colorado. I'm going to figure out some vacation in winter that takes me somewhere tropical where I can get my continuing education for massage done. Yeah. So I can get out of here. And it's
Bashar. You follow anything like from?
It's very familiar.
Bashar. He's like, he's I forget the guy's name, but he channels this guy. Yeah. Bashar is an alien.
Yep.
But he talks about, like, how to, regain control of your life and what you do and your happiness and everything, and manifesting and everything.
Yeah.
And one of the things he says is, like, every moment, if you think, okay, what am I going to do next? You choose that one thing that feels the best for you.
Yep.
And you push that as far as you can. Far as you can, so you can't push it any further. And then from there, you choose the next thing that feels the best, feels the most downriver, the less upriver sort of thing, feels
right.
And push that as far as you can, do as much as you can with it until you can't do it anymore. But speaking of Bashar, let's throw in the old alien thing. Okay, so before you do, do you want a drink or anything? I've got some sparkling waters.
You're gonna
grab the water over there?
Yeah. Okay, you're going to have to tell me about aliens, because I don't know a lot about aliens, except that supposedly there's a spaceship hovering over us right now. It's causing the solar flares and the northern lights and all this stuff.
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah?
But there are spaceships hovering over us right now. I don't watch the news. There's this guy that, like, channels well, there's a couple people that channel like aliens. A couple of them I don't believe because you can see them thinking. But other ones that like they don't think, they just say, and it all makes sense. And it all lines up, and they never contradict themselves.
Yeah.
And this Bashar is one of them. He was really good with it. But he apparently says that there's a ship, like cloaked ship, that's above. Where is he above? Argentina? Somewhere. Anyhow, it's it's there. That's where he lives. But he says that we're going to be in contact with 100% accuracy in the year of 2027. That will be open contact.
Okay.
So that's kind of exciting.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before, when I first started listening to him, which hasn't been that long, like maybe 3 years. Mm-hmm. And I don't like seek out. I just see things. But anyhow, it used to be there was a 91% chance based on how things kind of like align, because they can't generally guarantee. Like life is about, or time or events that happen are all about like percentages and what do you call it in math, where they probability and statistics.
I was like, prediction is not the right keyword.
Probability.
Yeah.
So the probability of something happening based on how things were aligning, the way they looked and everything, was like 3 years ago was like 91% chance that we would have open contact by the year of 2029 or something like that. Now it's 100% chance, the way it's lined up and everything, that we'll have open contact in 2027. So
yeah,
we'll see if that happens. But I love how when this guy talks from the alien, it's like, even the things like I'm really interested in like DMT. And
have you done it before?
I've done it. And one time I got the breakthrough. Yeah. And it was the craziest shit.
I had it for like a second and then I lost it.
Ever happened.
It was cool.
Yeah, and I came out going, what the fuck? What the fuck? And I'm afraid to do it again.
Okay.
I've done it 3 times. I got to the basically the first level one time. The second time I did it, like the first level. And I came out of it. And it was weird because when I came out of it that time, I was like, oh, it's already been. It was opposite of hitting the breakthrough level. It was like, no, it felt like I was in there forever. No. It was like, oh, it's already been 15 minutes. It didn't feel like any time. And it was just like the dancing, the things you see initially. Yeah. Like the machines that twirl and twist and morph into stuff. And I came out and I was kind of like, it was weird. I was like, not impressed, not really bummed, but just like, yeah. That's it? Yeah. And it was, there was no excitement, no like, I don't know. It was almost like, you had a warm glass of water. Yeah. Well, that was it.
Yeah. Is that because your expectation was something cool and then you felt let down?
I think it was just because it was that level. It was level 1. Yeah. And I didn't get anywhere. The third time I did it, I got like the second level. So things were really morphing, and I was in a different different landscape. And I was kind of like in awe when I came out of that. But the first time, man, I was like, somebody, you remember those things you blow, they're like little horns, they make noises, but they roll out. Kazoo. Like, yeah. They roll out and they come back in and they roll out.
For New Year's Eve.
When I took that third hit, this joker rolled out and went, and like, and did this in my face. like this far away from me, a full on Joker face. Ah, it was like welcoming, and I was like, this is it. I'm in.
Yeah.
Laid back.
No question.
And something, I don't know if it was a Joker or whatever. I kind of am in figuring out the whole thing. I'm kind of thinking that Joker is like my true self. But then the Joker disappeared, and then something from above, whether it was me, knowing where I was going or whatever, something just like dragged me through. It was like, come on. And we went to all these crazy fucking places. Like, I don't really remember them much, but I do remember being like in a cave sort of situation, standing on like one road, basically on the side of like a internally dark, huge canyon cave. And then the whole walls of the canyon though were just changing into shapes and geometric things and morphing into machines and geometric machines and things that would come out and morph into, and it was all like kind of like flowing by, and that was just the weirdest thing. But then it was like, come on over here, and drag you to a different place, and then
it's a lesson in not controlling things, right?
Yeah.
And just having to kind of go with the flow. They say that about acid and mushrooms too, right?
Yeah,
that kind of joke about you get the trip that you need, not the one that you want sometimes,
I feel like the acid and mushrooms, LSD and mushrooms are more of like a teaching thing, like the stuff that you need.
Yeah.
I feel like this DMT is like really like, it just takes you to a different world.
Yeah, but is that not also teaching you something?
I mean, maybe it's taking you to somewhere where this is what you need. But I feel like
that there's this reality somewhere.
Yeah,
but we don't have access to it.
That's what I'm more saying. Like, I'm not sure if we need to go where this place is it's taking you to this place, or if it's just like, this is here. Let me show you this.
Because I think like that's what's really fascinating about everyone's past life regressions is that they've all been, I've had clients that were Atlanteans in a past life, right?
And where?
Like they lived in Atlantis. They were an Atlantean, right? And so mine were I was like a human in both of them. Too. But like people have been aliens in their past life. Like there have been these experiences, and it's really funny because I had some visions the other night after a yoga class. We were sitting in meditation and all my friends were like, you were high for yoga? And I was like, no, these visions came just like sitting in meditation.
Yeah. And it can happen once you learn that spot.
Yes.
But you use the drugs to whatever to know that those exist. And then you can do that through meditation. You don't need the drugs.
Yeah. Because I maintained with my former partner that we both got to this similar place of personal growth, but I did it through yoga and Reiki and journaling and meditation, and he did it with mushrooms. Because for guys, that's just like easier, right? Like, well, I'll just learn about myself with psilocybin and not have to do all this work. But I think you can get to these lessons and these visions and this growth two different ways, right?
Yeah,
but you can also use psychedelics irresponsibly, right? But I think like even taking Molly or mushrooms at a festival to have a good time, you still can be learning something even in that experience. And I feel like I often have. I've learned stuff both ways, right? So like I think psychedelics are fun. I think they teach us things, but you have to be responsible and integrate that stuff, right? It's the same thing as listening to all the podcasts. Well, if you're not going to journal about it and integrate that knowledge, it's not going to do you any good. So if you just want to go to concerts or do DMT but not actually come back with, I think that Joker was me. And what I've learned in Reiki is that my higher self talks to my client's higher self, and our higher selves are funny. Like, they're great.
Yeah. Yeah, humor is it's crazy.
We take life way too seriously.
Yeah. Yep.
So I believe you.
Yeah. It's funny when I think about it, like, oh, freaking drug addict, like, right? No, I'm not a drug addict.
No.
And there's so many people that I've heard read about and heard about, trip reports and whatever that have done DMT, and they're like, done it once. It was the craziest thing that's ever happened to me, and I'm never doing it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a researcher who actually he did the first ever long-term study of DMT that was, approved from the United States. And Greg Glassman. No, wait, no, I think that's CrossFit.
I don't know.
What is his name? Anyhow, see, I shouldn't have had that burrito. I'm like slow. But anyhow, he, has done all this research and everything. He's got books out about DMT and everything. And people, when he goes on podcasts, he's like, it's kind of funny how people think I'm complete master at this, doing DMT and everything. And he's like, to be honest with you, I've only done it once in my life. Like, that's all you need.
Yeah.
But it takes years for some people to process it, and it's literally taking months for me to still figure stuff out.
I think too, like with psilocybin, especially depending on your dose, the levels of subconscious that it accesses for you can, like, just depending on where you're at right now, you can have a trip where all that stuff matters, but it doesn't matter for like another 15 years, right? Because it's not trying to meet you where you're at. It's just taking you on whatever trip you need.
That's interesting.
You'll get done. You'll be like, man, I don't know how any of that's relevant to my life today, but like I certainly journal about it, right? And it's like, it's
interesting.
there.
You might need it 15 years down the
road. And I think it shows up almost like deja vu.
Or you need it 15 years prior. And
then in that moment, you'll be like, oh, that's what that trip was about, was this thing specifically. Like deja it's vu. Medicine too, but there's a responsible way to do it. I think in all my experiences with ketamine too, like there is a dose. I literally say, like, I'm asking for a responsible dose, because there is a dose when you're sitting with your friends that all of a sudden one of your friends starts sharing something really personal that they've never shared with you before, that I can go, the ketamine's working, because it's inhibited that spot, that ego, right? And all of a sudden they're able to share how their babysitter molested them as a kid and their parents never believed them. And they would never say that to you any other time. That is, to me, the magic of ketamine.
Does that mean they're on the ketamine, or that you're at a dose where you've broken down?
Well, we all do it together to be on the same level, but I can tell that it's working for them because they're saying something that any other day of the week they would never share, right? They feel comfortable and safe enough with this friend group, and it's accessed this. It's all the research too with Molly and psilocybin and veterans and all the areas of the brain that it helps. Like, there's something really magical to ketamine, I think, if you can do it responsibly. Yeah. I had a client who received...
Well, they say PTSD, that one dose fixes 90% or something like that, and 2 doses fixes 97% or something like that.
My one client was getting the sublingual doses and then virtually doing therapy, right? They would come in and ask questions, so she would have this like guided trip, essentially. But it's like, then you've got people who just want to sit in a K-hole, and that's what they want to do with ketamine. And I'm sorry, but melting into the couch for 45 minutes, waiting for it to be over, is not fun for me. Yeah. Like, that's not how I want to experience that stuff, So it's just meeting people where they're at. Everyone's on a different journey.
Did I ever tell you about Nick, did I ever tell you about that accidental trip that I had on? I think I did. So Ronaldo is not very good at mathematics.
That's okay.
We got those little tincture bottles from the co-op.
Yeah.
And he was doing some math, and he says, because they're like 500 doses, in one of those little tincture bottles. So he did his math, and he's like, about a teaspoon. So I put under a teaspoon into my water and drink it down.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Because I'm good at 5 milligrams or whatever of an edible, and
You're lightweight.
I'm a lightweight, big time.
That's okay. Me too.
So I was like, what's about 5 milligrams?
Yeah.
Oh, a teaspoon. No. It sent me. It was fun for probably the first 2 hours. And then I started seeing, like, balls of lives. So like a sphere of a life, and then followed by a sphere of a life that was just a little bit different, and another sphere of life that was just a little bit different. And they were layered on each other. So these spheres were kind of coming off each other this way. So there's like a million lives, balls of lives, all a little bit different. Coming this way, and then coming this way too, and this way, and they were kind of like coming in as waves. So all these different possibilities, multiverse, whatever possibilities of lives. And I could see how, okay, one decision can change it just a little bit. And then, okay, so if you wanted to get out of this sort of like similar system of the same for all these lives, you had to really make a leap. And those leaps are really freaking hard to do. And now, the horrible thing about this was I'd jump into a life and I'd be like, oh my God, yeah, I recognize this one. And then I get to the end of that. And it wasn't like you're living a whole life, but it was like a quick sort of
like experience
life. And then you get to the end of it and nothing resolved. It popped you in a different one. And then you're back into this sphere of this waves of spheres and stuff, and you're seeing all these lives again back into that system. And then you'll recognize another one and be like, oh yeah, here it is again. Oh, I can deal with this one. And then you get to the end of it and nothing resolves. Like you could just see it almost resolving, nothing resolved. Almost resolving, nothing resolved. So I could never get anything finalized. Like nothing ever finished. And it was just the worst feeling. Like it was horrible.
Like frustrated.
Just stuck in this system of, and so, processing that. It's just been like, are you kidding me?
You're like, wait, is that what this is? Let me look back on my real life and see, is this how my real life feels?
Yeah. Right? Or is this what real life is? I mean, are we literally, are they video games? Are we just hopping back into the same video game to try to make it a little further? And then kind of getting stuck into that whole system of do it again, never resolving. Is this the hell life that, I don't know.
Yeah, there's so much. And there's so many ways to look at it. Because I don't dream when I sleep very often. And so my former partner and I had documentaries, cult documentaries, spiritual documentaries, The Matrix, all the things, right? And this idea that you're living this different experience while you sleep. And now, if you don't dream, is that because like your connection is just so good that you don't ever experience this other life? Or is your connection not good and that's why you don't get to experience? Like just the different ways you could argue this Sims.
So are you not dreaming?
I think I am, but I don't remember them. Because there are times sometimes where I'll wake up and I'll be like, oh, I'm in the middle of a dream right now. And it's just, I don't care what the dream is. I just appreciate that I'm even cognizant that I'm having a dream because normally I can't remember. I think for a long time it's been an energetic thing. And I've started just praying and asking to be able to remember my dreams. And I've been remembering dreams.
I think you can tell yourself to do that.
I don't know why I stopped. I think I personally believe it's a way we protect ourselves. I think that there's something I'm going to dream when my dreams come back, that it's going to be hard, but it'll come back when I'm ready to handle it. And I think that's what's happening to me. But I think all these arguments are different. Even in my sweat lodge training, that Apache knowledge talks about your dreaming body. And so just like astral travel, like we see in Stranger Things with 11, right? You can lay in your bed at night, you meditate enough and calm your body down enough that you can like start moving your body. And so our test was to get up and walk right into the other room while we're laying down and just to draw what we see. So I can't explain how these things came to me because they weren't exactly how they came to me on the other room, but I was able to draw that there was a dining room table that was oval with the 4 legs on it. And I drew like a triangle and a circle and a square. And there had been like a card on the table and like a placemat and some other things that like were the shapes that I drew, but I didn't see them as that. So it's really interesting how that stuff can work. But you do it while you're sleeping, right? So like, yeah, I think we are a soul that lives many lives and it's not always human. And we're just constantly learning and trying to get closer to love each time we're here. And it just looks different every time. And so just making the most of that experience while we're here feels like the right thing, you know?
They say that the DMT entities are the same ones that like people encounter when they're having like experiences of being taken up in a UFO.
Oh, really?
And, yeah.
Or I guess my background says, have you read the book Many Masters, Many Lives?
No.
So I'll try to keep it short, but it's awesome. It's like a story of a psychiatrist from Florida, and he works at a teaching school, right? So his patient that comes to see him is a nurse who also works, think like Grey's Anatomy, right? They're like training on the job. She has all these issues in her life with like anxiety and depression, afraid of the dark, has a really hard time swallowing medication, things like that. He can't really understand from her current life what would be causing it. So he wants to put her into hypnosis to take her to her early childhood, where she does figure out she got like pushed in a pool at one point. And so that explains her like choking thing. But then she even starts going into past lives, and like her voice will change in that life when she dies in that life and goes to what they call the in-between. So he starts recording all their sessions because she's able to go back to this past life. She's not always a woman, you know. She can see people in her lifetime from this life, you know, like even as her therapist in a different life, he was like her uncle or something like that. So your soul family.
Yeah.
And so he's going through all this and he's like, I don't want to believe it because I'm like a science person, but she's very clearly having these experiences, going to the in-between and then sharing as a master, like what the lesson was from that life before she picks her next life and reincarnates into the next one. And so all these pieces of advice she shares as a master are like wisdom. And so it's just kind of, for me, it's like the more and more I lean into spirituality and all of my trainings and everyone's saying the same thing, it's hard for me to deny that like this is what really happens. So even when I saw my psychic, she's also a medium. The psychic I see, she's not my psychic, but you know what I mean? And she said, yeah, you know.
You can say that. It's like my lawyer.
I know, but it feels weird. And she's not my psychic. She's just the psychic that I see. But she said, you know, your dad's been kind of reviewing everything he said to you in his lifetime, and he's really sorry. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense to me that we do when we die, we review our lifetime. And there's a reason in the 4 agreements he talks about being impeccable with your word. Like your word is really important. It's what you review upon your death to like revisit the lessons that you were supposed to learn. And I'm like, that's a big deal.
Did you ever hear about that kid that came back? It was a pilot that went down in a war or something like that. Yeah. Hey, Nick, do you have the internet? Mm-hmm. Maybe use your phone or something. Mm-hmm. Look up the reincarnation of the child fighter pilot. If you don't believe in reincarnation, this would do it. Because this kid was like, there's no way he would know what kind of planes these things are. I don't know. There might be some parents out there who are nuts that would tell their kids to lie and
no. Well, and I believe
like
this
that,
stuff. So you know,
I don't. Yeah, it's probably him. Yeah. Is that his current name or his this life name, or was it his fighter pilot name? James Leningrad.
Ryder told me a story 2 years ago, like in Sweden, of a kid recognizing a house that he grew up in. He's like, Mom and Dad, I know I lived in this house. You get there by boat and it looks like this. And they were like, okay. So they took this trip with the kid. And sure enough, this house was like identical to the one he knew that he lived in. Because when we were younger, we just have so much more access to that stuff.
Yeah.
Before the world
I really
fucks
feel
us
it
up.
goes away at 3 or 4 or something. Mm-hmm. I've always like thought that's why God made babies unable to like talk or communicate or even see so very well at the beginning, because they would just be like.
There's an argument that actually the language babies speak is a superior language.
Interesting, yeah.
That they come actually the wisest, right?
Yeah.
And then it's all downhill from there.
Right.
Until we take it into our own hands, right?
Yep.
But,
I mean, that makes sense. If they were to speak, might be freaked out.
Like what they're actually saying. Yeah. I think it's all possible.
If you go into the DMT world and try to listen to everything that it's the craziest thing. So tell me about you. You were in there for like a split second. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Mine was like pretty, but not. My friend that was offering it was like, well, you could close your eyes and sometimes it's cooler. And so then I closed my eyes and I lost it. But for me, it was very, I don't know how to describe it. Like Disney on Ice kind of. It was like animals walking by, but it's almost this holographic, like, you know, when things are kind of iridescent and pink and orange and clear and glitter. It was like that. And it just felt like Jurassic Park with all these cool animals walking by in this different like color and structure. And then I was like, ooh, yeah, I want to close my eyes and see them differently. And then it was all gone. I was like, shoot. So that was as far as I got. But I've had situations too with ketamine where it's like I was sitting on the couch in the garage having a conversation with my partner and I looked around and the garage was gone. All I could see was the sky with stars. And I was like, here we are floating on this couch having this conversation. Like, it's wild. But it's hard because sometimes I feel like that distracts from whatever the lesson should be, you know? Because I'm like, now I'm having so much fun. Like, there's no walls here anymore and I'm not maybe getting the message. But sometimes...
It's more fun than educational. Yeah.
But there could have been a message there too, and I just don't know what it is yet, you know? But that's why I think doing things responsibly is important, you know? Not everybody's about that.
Yeah, it's funny, like, I don't think I have told anybody that, like, I don't think Nick knew that I was done DMT, and nobody at the real gym, really.
Yeah.
Ronaldo, obviously, he was there with me, and vice versa. But, because I don't use drugs. You know,
I remember.
I don't even drink alcohol.
Yeah.
You know? It's been 4+ years, you know? So it's just weird. But
I think it's just like the part of journey that you're on, right?
Yeah, and it's,
you know?
it's more of like a discovery, like a psychic discovery rather than anything like to take me away from this world or anything like that.
Right.
In fact, I'm afraid to do it again for the reason that it takes me away from this world. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
You know, to go there.
You're not wrong. It took me a really long time. I think that is something I am grateful for from my last relationship because, I mean, I didn't even smoke weed before that, right? I drank occasionally. I was sober for a while. And I always had this understanding that psychedelics were going to be like alcohol. You were going to act real dumb, probably black out, certainly not feel good the next day. And so I was like, why? No, I'm old enough. I don't want to drink anymore. Why would I want to add that to my life?
Yeah.
But trying it and realizing like you can do a responsible amount and still have a trip and be a functioning, responsible adult, right? Yeah. Now, if you want to do a bunch of mushrooms, you probably just go somewhere and stay there, right? You're not trying to drive around town on mushrooms, but like you're cognizant, you're coherent, you can remember everything. And it's like the afterglow from LSD and mushrooms cause you to eat healthier food and like drink tea and want fruits and veggies. And I'm like, I don't think that's a bad thing. Yeah. But now I also...
I like the DMT timeline way better.
Yeah. You know, LSD is a commitment.
20 minutes. Yeah, totally. So is mushrooms, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I can hold it together that long.
Yeah. You know? Depends. How
15,
many
20 minutes is one thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think
Did you sell anything?
No. If they're making you a better human, okay, but you have to do it responsibly. I'm still at a season where...
And that's one thing. I mean, it makes you open your eyes and understand people. Mm-hmm. It's just such a huge advantage to living, you know, just being able to understand people and that what they're going through.
Yeah. I don't think 2 years ago, before I'd been introduced to weed and other things, I would have stopped long enough on a walk with my dog to feel the leaves falling down around me. You know, I think about this all the time because even the clients that I work with a lot at work are women who don't even know what they need because they're just surviving, right? They're making sure their partner's happy, their kids are taken care of, they're going to work. They don't even know what they need or how to slow down. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell them because weed helped me get through that slowdown, that sitting watching a movie and instead of going, I should be doing 17 other things right now, I can go, nah, like I'm good for the next hour and a half. I deserve this. I'm going to sit and snuggle the pets, watch the movie, and like I can be productive later or tomorrow. But I don't know, in our body, in our nervous system, our culture rewards this like hustle and this hurry up and this being productive. It's how people find their sense of worth. Yeah. And so when you're telling people to slow down and be mindful, I don't want to be like, if you smoked a doobie, it'd probably help you, because I don't know what their mental health situation's
and then
like.
And then your next client is somebody that comes in and says, I spent way too much time laying on the couch, not getting anything done. How do you handle that one?
Well, and there's an answer. That was the old version of me, so I know how to do that, right? You can stack your days full of all the things and stay busy all day. I've done that before. My nervous system now has a day like that, and it goes, ooh, the next day I'm going to have to do less. Like, I just lived at that pace for so long, and you can only live there until you burn out, you know, and then you have to find some balance. And ideally, you can just walk your dog or watch a movie and not feel shame around sitting still or taking time for yourself. But that takes work.
Yeah. Looks like our producer is begging to go.
Is it go time?
It might be go time for number one. Feel free to come back.
Yeah.
We have to talk about more of your future, like podcasting, what the goal is with that, what the future is with that.
Figure it all out as it goes. But I'm like, I just want people to come to my studio and like have tea, and we just like have a conversation, and it's about whatever's going on in your life, you know? So this can definitely to be continued.
For sure.
To be continued.
Sounds great to me.
For sure.
But we did an hour and 45.
Yeah. I have a lot to say all the time. I can always say things.
Well,
it's relevant information.
I've learned that maybe I should eat a couple hours before the podcast rather than just right before the podcast.
Yeah.
the food processing. But I was like,
Makes
okay,
you
I'm hungry. Am I going to be able to eat at all? So I stuffed down my burrito. But
yeah. No, I think it's good. I think people are looking for more of these conversations right now too, right? Just that permission.
I constantly
into that,
am,
like,
you know,
spirituality
and
part.
I want to be able to talk about stuff that I am interested in, you know, and this is a way to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm glad that you were willing to be my first subject, and
I'm so
and
glad
I want you
it
to come
worked out.
back and we can have more conversations.
Absolutely.